Military vehicles of the future. Consistently, we see an ever-increasing number of remarkable military vehicles being delivered by the world's driving superpowers. Well, we could really find out about their reality long after they have been planned or sent. With large numbers of these activities being highly confidential, we gave a valiant effort to incorporate the 50 generally strong, progressive, and cutting-edge tanks, planes, drones, and different sorts of military vehicles as far as anyone is concerned. Lash yourself in, being a rough ride is going. BAE Systems Adaptive Technology. Produced by BAE Systems AB, the high-level degree of dynamic cover introduced into the adaptive framework averts foe identification, particularly infrared night vision innovation. This is a cross-section of pleatier hexagonal plates that rapidly consume and freeze to make the administrator's required picture, for instance, the encompassing timberland or a regular citizen vehicle. BAE Systems released the Adaptive Infrared Military Disguise innovation in 2011, contrasting it with a warm TV screen. With around 1,000 hexagonal pieces covering the flanks of metal-plated vehicles like individual transporters and tanks. Wildcat Robot. Try not to be tricked by this creation's abnormal-looking plan, as this Boston Robotics Wildcat is bound to overcome any sort of climate. As you can tell from its practically cute appearance, this isn't a battle unit. It is intended to move freight or insight through rough, frigid, or sandy landscapes, determined. The Wildcat has gone through thorough testing in the running division, ending up practically relentless by everything except the most slippery or obstructed territories and weighty for fire. Arquus Scarabee Armored Vehicle. Arquus is, shockingly, a Volvo branch that released this massive machine during the 2019 Paris Air Show. Notwithstanding its weighty edge, the Scarabee is a light reinforced vehicle that has electric engines and ICE, set to carry out in 2021. The Scarabee was planned considering secrecy, with a calm and totally electric motor that can run for certain days without waiting to be charged. Units can now remain behind foe lines for extensive stretches of time. Ally Drone. For sure, the Ally drone is a robot masked as an owl, intended to go by foe identification, mixed up as an innocuous bird. This Russian drive is exceptional to the country's practically comical scope of one-of-a-kind mechanical military turns of events. While you could imagine that thoroughly prepared warriors with vision-improving innovation would handily recognize the distinction between a mechanical owl and a genuine one, you wouldn't believe how successful the reproductions have been for the Ally. Armed Force Rotorcraft Technology. While you are perusing this article, the U.S. Armed Force is exploring different avenues regarding the scope of rotorcraft innovation, scrutinizing models under unstable circumstances. As indicated by the Aeronautics Investigation Group head of the ARLSLAD, Brian G. Smith, one reason for this program is to produce a few restricted ballistic information that could diminish risk or potentially energize future vertical lift planners to think about CTEF innovation. You could see this innovation change military flight as far as we might be concerned. Saab Global Eye. The wall-like expansion on this plane is the Global Eye, supposed, because of early advanced notice location framework accomplishes such a great deal more than the conventional control stage. Created by the Security and Protection Division of Saab, the Global Eye is comprised of a sensor scope of the Area Extended Range Radar and Mission Framework. This is a piece of the Bombardier Global 6000 long-range business stream. To lay things out plainly, it is a fantastic radar. With 30,000 feet working height, the Global Eye can work up to 450 kilometers. The Turn program. In spite of there being an overflow of small independent planes existing in the military, most have been hindered by the sending and recovery of units inside turbulent seas and prohibitive decks. The Turn, tactically exploited reconnaissance node from DARPA, planned to consider seabirds wiping out this Achilles heel with a tail-based send-off and landing framework. This will permit naval forces to use drone innovation more than ever, unafraid of losing a large portion of their armadas. Apparition Fleet Overlord. NAVSEA, or Naval Sea Systems Command of the U.S. Naval Force, has started its cutting-edge maritime program with the culmination of one of two Ghost Fleet Overlord test ships finishing up a couple of 4-day automated journeys. This finished in over 181 hours of free missions, covering 3,200 nautical miles. This could be the start of broad independent unrest in the naval force? We may very well see naval forces all over the planet diminishing in faculty sizes sooner rather than later. Ocean Hunter. While we love the cool names that tactical experts give their new manifestations, the Sea Hunter's genuine name is Active Anti-Submarine Warfare Continuous Trail Unmanned Vessel is the reaction to maritime secrecy arriving at an almost imperceptible level. With nations' lines being tormented with unnervingly secretive submarines, the Sea Hunter plans to even the odds. It is, obviously, independent, intended to search out and report undercover submarines and their teams. The Gladiator UGCV. Need a bomb discarded when there's no other option? The exceptionally superior Gladiator UGCV is saving lives in the Marine Corps. It has a drawn-out range, supported speed and adaptability, and a thick guard from little arms. This is maybe the main genuine battle drone being utilized by the world's armed forces. The Gladiator is likewise a programmed and flexible executioner that can stand its ground against both workforce and vehicles with a shockingly destroying execution. It can likewise give a remote and expanded checking administration for scouts and convey genuinely necessary supplies for warriors well behind for lines. B-21 Raider. This next one is as yet drifting around the talking plant, however, we are no less amped up for the B-21 Raider. The turn of the 1,000 years brought about a truly necessary long-range strike bomber, LRSB, to be produced for current times. The Air Force then, at that point, started working with Northrop Grumman to begin advancement on the B-21 Raider. This is a steered airplane with an ability for covertness, top elevations, and besieging. The specialists over at the Air Force heading the drive proclaimed that they need at least a solitary pilot in the cockpit, seeing as the B-21 will startlingly zero in on conveying atomic payloads. Big Dog Military Robot. The Google-claimed Boston Dynamics fostered the Big Dog in light of power duplication. Likewise, with the Wildcat, the Big Dog can cross an assortment of landscape structures without stumbling. This implies that generally out-of-reach or time-squandering trips, also minefields or foe positions, can be defeated rapidly and without any problem. This makes supporting units a breeze, without jeopardizing a solitary individual. The Big Dog is solid, reliable, and can convey a ton of stuff. Fight Unmanned Ground Vehicle. Here we have a genuinely hazardous piece of mechanical virtuoso, tipping the scales at 7 tones and clad in enough defensive layer to take weighty arms head-on. The IAI BattleBot won't build up troopers or give intel. No, this is the eventual fate of military vanguards, as the very extreme and very hazardous Robattle drives the accuse against the foe of its scope of tow rockets and 25mm Bushmaster cannons. In the event that left to its own gadgets, the fight could joyfully obliterate adversary positions. However, the human component is as yet expected to settle on somewhat late moral choices. UH-19XRW Hovering. This fascinating combination of flying boat and air cushion vehicle highlights turns this military cordial and spearheading hoverwing is investigating an unfamiliar area. Known as the Batmobile, the UH-19XRW can convey a limit of 1,200 pounds of stock at 75 miles per hour with a most extreme 140 miles range. The greatest aspect of this powerful air cushion vehicle is that it can float at an excess of 6 feet, easily clearing out obstructions and a greater part of landmine types. Lockheed Martin State Route 72. The fly is as sci-fi as it gets. The Lockheed Martin State Route 72 can probably show up at any spot on Earth soon. You read that right, an hour. The most recent figures report a speed of in excess of 14,500 miles per hour. Surely, no human could deal with that sort of equipment or speed, so this spaceship is independent. It likewise just has a solitary motor. We can hardly hold back from seeing this excellence take to the skies sooner rather than later. Ripsaw MS-1. Here we have an independent light tank equipped for hitting a 95 miles per hour speed increase, implying that it is the speediest military vehicle with tracks on Earth. Extraordinarily, the Ripsaw MS-1 was molded as a base body for a whole clever assortment of defensively covered staff transporters and robot tanks. In any case, when military architects perceived how speedy and responsive this center model was, they realized that they had made one of the quickest reinforced vehicles of all time. With a solitary unit having an improvement cost under $1 million, right now, the Ripsaw tracks are equipped for being conveyed at a level reasonable for all-out war. Armed Force Futures Command all-terrain vehicles. This magnificence is as yet semi-ordered, and its designers favor it to be designated the vehicle that shall not be named. What we can see is that there is a quick moving toward upset in military ATVs, where their name could really have an entirely different significance in a couple of years' time. The new Reach was as of late finished up as good after some Texas A&M tests pushed radar limit, adaptability, and dependability of execution as far as possible. Non-pneumatic tires. While regular citizens may be going to appreciate airless tires, this is an innovation that tactical vehicles have been getting a charge out of for quite a while now. There is compelling reason need to supplant such tires, basically not for quite a while, as they can persevere through every possible kind of discipline and won't smooth as customary tires do. This implies that the U.S. Armed Forces tire financial plan can be saved extraordinarily. Such tires will permit military vehicles to explore rough or garbage-filled conditions far more straightforwardly, without the concern of penetrated tires. Oshkosh MATV. The small however strong Oshkosh MATV has had sufficient time in the field now to legitimize assuming the Humvee's position in the combat zone. It has a lot higher speed increase and mobility than its predecessors, also a wonderful arrangement of protective layer that can endure rocket-impelled projectiles, RPGs, and ad-libbed touchy gadgets, IEDs, very well. With regards to unconstrained bombs, the Warlock electronic IED jammers will cripple numerous assortments of handcrafted explosives before they even get close to the MATV, also the Crow Distant Weapon Station. DOKNG MV4 Mine Clearance Drone. We presently have a Croatian-created drone. The DOKNG MV4 can transform deadly minefields into innocuous clearings and annihilate vehicle blockades in the blink of an eye by any means, permitting its administrators to take care of their responsibilities with miles between. This is a followed vehicle that is unbelievably quiet because of everything electric powertrain. The DOKNG series is an exceptionally changed one, giving mining and putting out fires choices. Transform what is happening into a protected one. Gibbs Quad Ski. Here we have a genuinely exciting turn of events and a first for military innovation, a land and or water-capable attack bicycle. The Gibbs Quad Ski is a blend of an ATV and a fly ski that can arrive at 45 miles per hour in the waves or on the ground with its 140 horsepower. Like the DOKNG, the quad ski accompanies a snow-accommodating variety. In spite of being initially produced for relaxation, global military knowledge before long turned out to be staggeringly keen on the quad ski, before long turning into an element in numerous exceptional powers carports. XM25 Counter-Defilade Target Engagement CDTE system. There is no spot to stow away when the XM25 CDTE system comes to the party. This connection for most current attack rifles will throw airburst projectiles, which, as the name recommends, will burst mid-air to annihilate foes behind cover or hidden. The laser rangefinder element will find focus on that who are making an honest effort to stow away. Fearmongers should become clever to draw in officers with this shrewd explosive launcher. The wheel track. The wheel track replaces generally light to medium-sized military vehicle haggles and transforms your norm round wheel into a three-sided shape in 2 seconds. The Carnegie Mellon University created wheel track was sent off by the establishment's National Robotics Engineering Center, thanks to supporting from the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. The spearheading wheel won the 2018 Popular Science Best of What's New award. As you can envision, the wheel track permits military vehicles to explore practically any climate. Corner shot. Do you recall an old kids' shows like Looney Tunes, where characters could twist their weapons around corners? Indeed, the corner shot is precisely that. The IDF-created stunt shot permits infantry to shoot around corners. The 90 degrees rifle has a camera mounted on the second, about half, with a screen on the first, permitting officers to see the precisely exact thing that is going on around the bend to procure focuses to start shooting. While clearly, this is not even close as precise as a standard shot, it is a protected, stifling shoot. Smasher UGCV. Here we have a genuinely frightening independent ground battle vehicle, the Crusher UGCV, that is furnished with unyielding titanium and aluminum shell. Its motor is a mixture of super diesel and power, with a free suspension, fit for protecting infantry too, as it can take them out. It has been demonstrated to be most significant in a stockpile conveyance job, notwithstanding, with its state-of-the-art AI framework and sensor that can support powers whenever any place. Metropolitan Aeronautics Air Mule. The IDF has some way or another figured out how to make a car capable of flying ready with the Air Mule. This Blade Runner enlivened magnum opus is the best method for exploring metropolitan disaster areas with a carriage limit of in excess of a singleton for close to an hour. How could the Air Mule be a piece of such a high-level helicopter armada? Indeed, the Air Mule can enter squeezed regions that helicopters would right away detonate endeavoring. This would permit individuals caught in annihilated or flaring structures to bounce onto the Air Mule rapidly and securely. Flip Mode Patrol Vehicle. While you won't see the FLYP mode making the rounds for quite a while yet, as it presently can't seem to finish its functional trying interaction, it will ideally facilitate the endeavors of fast organization powers. This gives infantry well-being like that of the MRAP, however, with a lot quicker and more dexterous motor and by and large plan. There is likewise remarkably further developed perceivability in the FLYP mode. Because of publicly supporting endeavors, DARPA is consummating this model rapidly. It has a reasonable, dynamic, and particular plan, and will most likely become utilized at a far and wide level in several years. Taking care of Alpha Armored Car. The Fed Alpha came into the opposition during the Humvee substitution program a long time back, however presently fills in as a model for remarkable new battling designs. The crossbreed motor places the Fed Alpha in quite possibly of the most efficient protected military vehicle on Earth. It chugs 30% less gas than a heavyweight Humvee while keeping an indistinguishable freight limit, speed increase, and defensively covered safeguard. It is a champion creation in the tactical vehicle world, with its strong lithium particle batteries being charged by introduced sun-powered chargers. Cheneth Advanced Light Strike Military Vehicles. The unbelievable Desert Storm No. 1, the Light Strike vehicle, just got a staggering update. It is currently speedier and more prudent, with the Advanced Light Strike military vehicle partaking in a more noteworthy reach than its parent. The 160 horsepower diesel motor can deal with a heavier reinforcement load without forfeiting its ability to vanquish half-side inclines and 75% slopes without losing speed increase. The Zippy Scout machine has a lot of room for mounted hardpoints and batteries for Warlock electronic jammers, as well as observation sensors. Persuka 2/4 Electronic Warfare System. Do you have to incapacitate a whole armed forces equipment? The Persuka 2 can remove most military gear from the commission, including the direction frameworks of Voyage rockets, AWACS radars, and UAV frameworks. It can likewise impact covertness warrior control sensors to a greatest 250 km range. This wandering party halting machine could dazzle lower circling spy satellites. With such a generally useful and extensive limit, the Krashuka 2 will make any intrusion a bad dream. Storm Search and Rescue Tactical Vehicle. This will be a ridge buggy ride that you will always remember, as it can vanquish many risky conditions while securely conveying a limit of 3 vigorously harmed patients in a solitary ride. The Storm is lightweight and thick to the place where it tends to be effortlessly conveyed and dropped by most transport helicopters. Need to make a speedy 180 degrees turn on a lofty grade or fun stretch? Don't sweat it. This is the ablest and most responsive military vehicle on wheels in assistance today. TOS-1 Buratino Heavy Flamethrower System. Will you check out the size and savagery of the TOS-1? You can likewise tell that this behemoth won't be going any place rapidly when absolutely necessary, so send it admirably. As you would have speculated, just the Russians would make something this frightening, as this T-72 MBT has had its standard turret supplanted with a hilariously curiously large multi-rocket launcher. The term downpour damnation has never been more able, as this beast can soak a situation with around 24 to 32 thermobaric or combustible rockets in minutes. Its reach goes as much as 6 kilometers, where around 2 square kilometers will be completely destroyed. Ultra-heavy lift amphibious connector. This towing boat on tracks is known as the battle paddle boat, yet don't allow the charming term to hoodwink you, as its reach is twofold and load limit triple of the biggest air cushion vehicle. To more readily comprehend how unimaginable that is, only one UHAC can convey a couple of Titanic M1 Abrams tanks securely onto land. This is a task that it can complete regardless of weather stacked with prepared reinforcement. As may be obvious, this Leviathan can endure every kind of weighty arm. Merkava 4 Windbreaker MBT. At long last, we continue on toward a tank that makes most seem like toys. The IDF Merkava 4 slings a Titanic 120mm cannon and numerous automatic weapons that are remote controlled. To finish everything off, the introduced 60mm mortar is a genuine amazing powerhouse. The rear of the tank has a clamshell-style set of entryways that can store and protect an infantry crew of 4. A tremendous radar-worked shotgun, called a Trophy Dynamic Security Framework, will obliterate any rockets that focus on the tank. Dark Knight UGVC. Regardless of staying at the model level at the hour of this article's composition, the almost free trooper halting machine is very nearly revamping the ground battle story. Its 30mm autocannon and various somewhat controlled automatic rifle and rocket connections make the Black Knight the greatest and most imposing hostile robot on the planet. It is exclusively held for the most unpredictable war zones, offering replaceable help and guard for infantry and military vehicles the same. The honorable mentions that did not make the futuristic cut. Super M1 Riot Control Vehicle. The absolutely electronic and programmed beast that is the Mega M1 Riot Control Vehicle weighs in excess of 17 tons and can successfully leave mobs and little furnished units speechless. Past its massive edge and extraordinary defensive layer, the M1 is a flexible and responsive uproar-subduing machine that can manage any type of common turmoil. Its ports contain lights, weapons, rock-solid guards, a water hose, and a lot of room for a little multitude of mob police or warriors. The environment control framework is fundamental for furious metropolitan fights, and the mounted CCTV framework prevents any revolutionary from getting a leap on the group. Forceful hydraulics. This staggering water power framework lays streets down like enchantment, among numerous other fantastic purposes. For instance, on the off chance that an unpleasant landscape or obliterated roadway needs a way through or a convenient solution. This water-driven sheeting can likewise be utilized to send unrehearsed protections, giving cover to infantry and cautious situations overall. Then, at that point, there are its more inventive purposes, like restricting freight together for elevated transportation. Construct your own war zone. Sandcat. The Sandcat gives the unmistakable sight and development that troopers are utilized in typical military watch vehicles, with an additional Stanag Level 3 defensive layer. You can wager that this monster can rule any landscape that you toss at it, including bouncing over channels and driving through streams. It can accelerate 25 degrees side slants and 60 degrees grades. Ice, mud, sand, and shakes can't prevent the Sandcat from speeding at max speed. It has a deft 40-foot turning range and is totally trustworthy in landing areas or open country. Defensively covered combat engineer robot. Try not to be tricked by the image. The armored combat engineer robot, Acer, tips the scales at 2.25 tons, and there is certainly not a solitary land drone bigger than it in help right now. You can wager that with that much weight, the Acer will slither along. However, that doesn't prevent it from finishing a heap of unsafe undertakings that stop superfluous human gambling. From protecting a step workforce in unstable circumstances, to securely gathering up landmines and raising strongholds while disregarding faux weapons, the Acer is a boon in the combat zone. Smaller UAVs can likewise be sent off from their sizable stage. Man-made consciousness aid. Might you at any point envision an existence where wars are battled between man-made reasoning, as opposed to people? The world is gradually, however, consistently floating into the fourth modern upheaval, where AI is the situation. Entire public safeguard branches are to a great extent instructed by AIs the way things are, and that's only the tip of the iceberg, and more military frameworks are being given over to AI. In any case, you can hope to stand by numerous prior years AI is given the rules of mankind's security. RT-01 Transport Vehicle. The Rover, genuine name RT Series Group Transport, is a Wayland Corporation planned heavily clad staff transporter, APC, that is among the company's best contributions. The Rover has a nano-supported hard composite arrangement of tracks that can endure huge temperatures of a limit of 2000 degrees Fahrenheit and a shape memory compound wheel framework. The rover appears to be more appropriate for investigating outsider planets, yet is positively the ideal approach to move faculty and troopers about the spot securely. Google Glasses. We might want to enjoy some time off from military vehicles to discuss one more appropriate piece of modern military innovation. The Google Glass won't simply help residents in their day-to-day routines, yet give a point-by-point heads-up display, HUD, for warriors and specialists in the field. Do you have to know what amount of time it could require for you to arrive at an immediately estimated distance? Could you like a nitty-gritty 3D guide of a possibly hazardous structure that you and your crew need to break? Or on the other hand, perhaps, you might want to increase your faculties with a live feed from a robot? Google Glass will develop your faculties. Ordnance Gun Module, AGM, Self-Propelled Automated Howitzer. The AGM is going to propel the ordnance field for a very long while. It is completely mechanized and can be conveyed by medium-sized transport planes. Adaptability is an enormous, in addition to when you can trade out your particular parts effortlessly. This permits the AGM complete flexibility, with a unique execution that can deal with any war zone and situation. This adaptability likewise implies that extra stockpile trucks can rapidly be redesigned moderately into deadly gunnery units, liberated from any weighty designing preparation. Guardium Unmanned Ground Military Vehicles. The Consolidated Watch Vehicle conveys 1.2 lots of freight, sensors, being a Titanic IDF competitive edge. Administrators can switch back and forth between a battle battery unit that endures 24 hours or a Voyage 1 at 48 hours. The Guardium appreciates unparalleled solidness, not found in some other ground drone plan. Whether it is being driven truly or controlled from a distance, the state-of-the-art UGCV gives the possibility to a minuscule line watch unit to handily keep up with broad stretches of intense territory. The Distributed Aperture System, DAS. The F-35 is outfitted with a distributed aperture system, DAS, which gives pilots a live stream incorporated from about 6 cameras that are situated across an airplane. This basically furnishes a pilot with an undetectable cockpit, where each plane is covered, and any vulnerable sign is like before. Pilots leaving on night missions will have this all current in place utility too, with its devoted night vision capability. Festo camera ends. Be no move from the fringe of to the far off and unimaginable. The Festo camera ends are the best little coil agents, and not at all like the prior reference to Allied